Hello, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us and yet another Monday where we're going to take on a new topic. Today's topic is about embracing the golden years with our senior dogs. I would love to know if anybody who is watching currently has a senior, a rockin' senior at home with them, and we'd love to know their name, or if you've had the pleasure of sharing your life with a senior. Certainly, I have. I have a current senior, Ed. He is about 12, but I feel like I've been saying that for the last couple of years, so he may be a little older than that. When today, Suzanne Bryner of Lucky Fido Dog Training is going to be joining us to talk about this more. Suzanne shares her life with her dog, Foxxy. And we were talking privately, and we were talking about all the ways that we've changed our lives for our dogs and the different needs as they've changed, and really to helping them to continue to embrace their lives as they age. So we decided that this would be a great topic to talk about. So Tank is 9 and Penny is 8, and that makes you feel sad. Oh, they're still youngins in my opinion. So we're gonna have Suzanne join us here and tell us a little bit more about herself and about her gal Foxxy.
Hey, Jennifer.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear
Thank
me
you.
okay? All right, good.
Yes.
Yeah, so my girl, that was funny what you said about how you feel like you've been saying Ed is 12 years old for 2 years, because that's kind of how I feel too.
Yes.
Anytime somebody asks me how old Foxy is, I go, well, I don't know, maybe 12 or 14. I don't know. I don't know because she was a street dog. But I also
Right.
feel like I'm not really admitting how long I've known her.
Right. Don't want to stop and add it up.
I don't know how old she is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love her so much. But yeah, we've been through so many changes, and it's been shocking at times, and I just feel like anytime we can help other people not be shocked in the same way, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Right. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Miss Foxy, when did you start to feel like, I feel like my gal's getting a little up there, a little older? Were there specific things
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah,
gave
it felt like abrupt, but I'm sure that it wasn't. I think the very first things that started to happen were that when we were in the house together and moving around the house, she stopped kind of getting out of my way. And I was bumping into her more often because of that. And at first, I just thought she was being a little clingy and needy. And it was a little frustrating, honestly. And then I realized, after kind of watching her and doing a little bit of reading about cognitive decline in dogs, that in fact she was probably losing maybe her depth perception a little bit or something like that, and it wasn't as easy for her to gauge how close or far I was from her.
Mhm.
And that was my big aha moment. And then I started to really pay more attention to things like, when she brings me a toy to throw, she often bumps into me
Mm.
because she doesn't realize how close to me she's gotten. And she stands much closer to me now. Does Ed do that?
Yeah, and I often I often notice he has a harder time finding me. So like if I'm like even when I'm
Yeah,
outside, I'm having to make noises or like wave my hand because
yeah,
I think I'm kind of blending into the background. I've
yeah,
also,
yeah,
yeah. I've also noticed he's always been a little wary of steps in general. Like he's fine going up, but going down has never been his strong suit. And when he wakes up in the morning, he's definitely a little bit more leery and hesitant to initially go down those steps. So
yeah.
that was a big change that I saw for him. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think that's vision impairment or arthritis or maybe a little of both?
I think it's both. I think it's
Yeah.
both. I think it was both because I also started to see him having a harder time judging even single steps, that he wasn't as leery to go down, just like little
Mm-hmm.
steps up onto our deck where he was kind of knocking his foot there towards the end. Or when we were out for walks, like he was not
Yeah.
noticing the curb. So
Yeah.
I
Oh,
would have
yeah.
to, yeah, so it'd have to be like, hey, bud, kind of slow him down a
Yes,
little bit. And I
for
started giving him
sure.
a little cue on that.
Yeah, kind of more stumbling and more tripping over things. And
Yeah.
the other thing that happened with Foxy recently that was so kind of dramatic and unexpected for me was, I have these like fake sheepskins for her to sleep on all over the house.
Yeah.
And I bought a new one and it was white. And I don't have a white one in the house.
Mhm.
And she would not step on it. She kept going around it. She was walking around it. And uh, sorry, my phone is just telling me something. And I finally realized that she doesn't see what it is. She just probably sees this big space.
Mhm.
Like maybe it looks like a hole. I don't know. But whatever it is, she's not having it. She is just not having it.
Yeah.
It was a little heartbreaking and kind of funny at the same time, you know.
I should have, and I forgot to download. Victoria and I are working on an e-course called Dog as a Second Language, and we really dove into all of the different senses of dogs. And when it came to vision, I found this really cool website that had taken and collected all of the data from research on the way that our dogs see things, depth perception, acuity, that color, all of that sort of thing, and then made a filter that you could upload any picture you wanted to, and then you could start layering on the filters until you got to the point where this is what your dog sees. It's pretty
Interesting.
crazy. Our dogs do not
That's
have
really
great
cool.
eyesight.
Yeah. I think I just didn't recognize that that's what was happening. And I feel kind of bad now because how there's that saying about how your dog isn't giving you a hard time, your dog is having a hard time. That was that moment because I just thought she was kind of being a pain, being kind of clingy and um
Right, right. And
she
you're like,
wasn't.
yeah, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it made me really want to open my empathy box way up, and help other people do the same thing when it came to their seniors because it is I think it's easy to miss the early signs.
It is. It is. And I think it comes along with when you see your dog every day, just like when we see ourselves in the mirror every day, we're not noticing things as acutely as somebody else may be who just came in off the street. So I think
Right,
it's good
exactly.
to step back, and I think you found some wonderful resources to help you along, right?
I did. Well, I did a little reading, so I got this book by Eileen Anderson that was really helpful to me. And interestingly enough,
Uh-huh.
it's called Loving and Caring for a Dog with Canine Cognitive Dysfunction. And I I was like, my dog doesn't have canine cognitive dysfunction. She's just getting old, like maybe this is overkill. But I read it anyways. And I was glad I did because so many of the symptoms that Foxy has related to hearing and seeing and the things we're talking about are part of that suite, of dogs kind of losing their skills. And so what I did find it really helpful. And I loved this book too, because, Eileen, she's like, it's so heartful and yet sciency at the same time. And that's always such a good combination.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just talking to people and, watching the things I could watch. Yeah. It just, talking about it, really talking about it
Yeah.
and finding out that other people were seeing similar things.
In Foxy
So
or in their own dogs?
in their own dogs.
In their own dogs? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I did ask a good friend when we were out. We walk every week with a good friend of ours. And I said, "Do you see a difference?" And she said, "Yeah, I really do." Oh,
Aw,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, darn it.
Yeah. So what
Uh,
do you find what things did you specifically start to change for Foxy that people could or based on your observations, what did you
yeah,
start to change? Because I think that
that's a good
could be a hard
question.
part.
It can be. She started to showed this preference for different surfaces than her usual bed, and that keeps changing. Sometimes she wants to be up on something soft, sometimes she wants to be on the floor. It keeps changing. So she's got like 7 bed options in the house, and they're all different.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets to choose. Some are warmer, some are cooler, some are softer, some are harder. She chooses where she wants to be, and I'm sure that that's pain related. um, Foxy has been a bully stick dog. Bully sticks are life for her, and she just has stopped being able to really dig into them because of
Right.
her dental stuff. And so I have auditioned a wide variety of chews that I, hoped for to find something better, and I have found a few things that she really loves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, what else have I changed? Like you said, I warn her when I'm in the room and things like that, so that I don't. She falls so deeply asleep that I think I startle her sometimes, and so I try to warn her
Mm-hmm.
uh, when I'm moving around the house. I've worked more closely with my vet to make sure that we get good pain management on board because I want to be as high with that as I can.
Yeah.
So that's been a big one. Just spending more time going slow with her on walks, and letting her roll. And that's all she wants to do on a walk is roll. Then
Mm,
that's all we do.
yeah.
Just letting her lead the way pretty much, and giving her as many choices as I can.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, same for Ed. I just kind of let him be who he is. I've tried to adjust surfaces for him, um, to help him out because he does have a lot of arthritis in his front legs. Plus, he had double TPLO surgery when he was maybe like 7 or 8. So we already call him like go go gadget. He's already bio man guy. So he's got those going on in the back, and then he's got arthritis in his fronts. So that is makes it a little tough for him. So I don't want him jumping up onto surfaces, and because then he has to jump down, and he's putting so much oof into that jumping down part that's not good for
Right.
him. Which is hard because he wants to follow me everywhere, just like most dogs do, and so he wants to be with me, and so if I'm on the couch, he wants to join me on the couch. If I get stand up to walk in another room, he wants to jump off the couch to go into another room. So I've strategically placed like his bed at the end of the couch that he jumps onto, and he will choose to use that, and like you see him choose, instead of just jumping off the couch in one area that would have been a shorter, easier path, he goes all the way around, so he's got that landing pad.
Oh, buddy
So I
boy.
do see that. Yeah.
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 Hey, I'm getting a lot of feedback. Are you hearing that at my end, or is that just my end?
I am hearing it on your end. Sounds kind of
So,
crackly.
yeah, what should I do about that?
I
Any
think
idea?
it might have to do with your connection to the internet, because it was okay before.
Okay, I'm just gonna grab something. You keep
Okay.
talking.
All right. Okay. We'll have Suzanne will let me know when she's back. So I did download a few really excellent resources that I have personally been looking at for my own dog. And so let me see if I can't. There we go. So I'm just going to mute Suzanne for a second. So there's a couple different resources that I really like that helped to give me, I don't know, some insight on maybe some stuff that Ed is going through. So one of them is this. This is from Zoetis, I think. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. But this is to help people to determine if their dog has osteoarthritis. But in general, I think that this is a great thing to kind of check out for your dog. It could be this arthritis, or it could be something else going on, but that you may start to clue in on if you're looking for it. So, for example, we've got limping after exercise. Watching what is their normal gait during the day, and then checking out how it's changed after you guys have gone for a long walk. So I see Rosetta is now 9, and she's arthritic in both front paws. So do you see her gait changing after, say, exercise? Or is it more temperature related? That seems to be also a thing. Lagging behind on walks rather than always being out in the front and ready to go and take on that next sniff. Slow to rise after they've been laying down for a bit. Difficulty jumping up onto cars or surfaces, stairs, that's one for Ed there. So that I really like. I think that was a really helpful tool for me. And I found that, oh, looks like we still got the sound there, Suzanne.
I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I'll just keep you muted, and then I'll unmute you when I bring you back up. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So, has anybody here that is here with us today, have they noticed anything with their senior dogs that have been changes that were maybe you didn't notice at first, but that maybe started to become a little bit more obvious as you started looking? I would love to hear that. While I'm waiting for that, because there's always the delay, Suzanne did mention how Foxxy now has lots of different beds, so she's got preferences there, and that's a fabulous thing for our dogs. And because one of the articles that I was reading from, I believe it was one of the veterinary journals, was that our dog's regulation ability changes. So, where they might be seeking out warmer areas because they're just not so great at the regulating their own body temperature. In addition to softer items, because maybe, they have some arthritis there. Oleg says stairs for Sadie. Yeah, stairs are tough, especially if, they do stumble and then they've had that scary and then possible added pain at the end that can make them a little bit more hesitant, for sure. That was definitely one of Ed's issues. Maja says temperature more. When it's humid, I got her little stairs so she doesn't jump off. We did a consult with an orthopedic surgeon. And let me just pull this over. So there we go. With an orthopedic surgeon, and we have added supplements, and we manage now going down the stairs. Weight management, yeah, that's a really great one. And more swimming, so no high intensity play or less of it. That's great. And I bet you that was a hard change. And just like Suzanne was noting how it was hard, some of the things that she knew that Foxxy really enjoyed that she had to change. And it can be kind of tough to be like, oh, my dog can't go play with other dogs anymore, or, as long as they want to. Because dogs aren't great at regulating themselves, so they will keep doing these things and then hurt themselves. My old Mary Lou was, classic for that. She started to lose the use of her back legs. And she wanted so dearly to go for those walks. And you could just see her start to kind of drag those back legs towards the end there. And it made it so tough because I know she enjoyed it so much. Let's see here. And follow up. She was limping for almost 2 weeks and is back to normal with some rest, pain meds, and we're going to see the vet on the weekend. Great. And it's so important to have a great relationship established with your veterinarian so that they know what normal is for your dog and what is not normal for your dogs. So that is a great thing to have established with them. Now for Suzanne, I'm going to bring Suzanne back here.
I'm still crappy here.
Maybe try closing it and then rejoining. See if that helps.
I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go away and come back in.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So having a good relationship with your veterinarian, where you've been going in for your regular wellness visits, they're going to help you to determine if you should be making more frequent visits to keep eye on things. So you have that nice established baseline with them, and then they're going to be able to tell those different changes as it's going along. And they're the professionals and the outside eye who's not seeing your dog every day, so you can really trust the guidance that they are giving you. Let's see here. Janine, just lagging behind on walks, choosing to spend more time sniffing. Yeah. Fear and discomfort with things that were never problematic before. This winter, he became fearful and uncomfortable with the crackle of the fire in the fireplace. Aw, yeah. And one of the things that have been discussed with noise issues, that sometimes these can come up when our dogs also have pain issues, because if they're startled, and they have some pain issues, like pain in their back leg or some arthritis or something going on, that startling naturally then jaws and creates that pain, and then they're associating that crackling sound with pain, when it technically it was just the noise initially, but the pain followed up. So we can start to see some of those sort of sensitivities with them, with those sounds. So, things that we can do to adjust to help them out there. Let's see. Suzanne's back. And let's see, can you talk?
I can. Can you
hear
me?
And the crackling's gone. Perfect.
And the crackling's gone.
Yeah.
Am I lagging?
Nope, you're looking good on this side.
Awesome.
So changes we can make for dogs like I don't know, Gian, am I saying that right? I'm sorry if I'm not. What can we do is, can we get them a comfy spot away from the fire? Can we, put off fires for a while? Make sure we're getting wood that is properly dried out, so there's less of that crackling. What can we do to help them out so they're not experiencing that? Or going to your veterinarian and saying, I'm noticing my dog has been startling more with noises, and I'd love to get a wellness check to make sure, if see if we've got any pain issues going on here, so you can get them on some pain meds. All right, now I'm going to read this out. So we've got Oleg says, Sadie lags behind on walks too, but not right away. Yep, same with Ed. Usually brisk at first, but then by the end of the walk, there's lagging. Your vet says that's all normal and nothing to worry about, but you don't know. I worry about any lagging behind. She has 4 long legs and 2 short ones. 2 short ones. Yeah. So it's good to keep an eye on it, and here's something that I did with my Mary Lou that I got in a habit of when our dog Yoda was with us. Yoda was having seizures. So I was tracking how often those seizures were occurring and at what time in the day they were. And then I got in this habit of using my dog calendar to also start tracking things with Mary Lou. When was she lagging behind more? When she had a hard time going down the stairs as she was losing the use of her back 2 legs. She basically started living in one of those help 'em up harnesses, so I could help her to get back up the stairs God, thank God for those, because
No
as I said
kidding.
earlier, she would just bull right through everything and would do whatever
Yeah.
she could just to keep doing it. And she'd be like, "I'm
Yeah.
fine. I got this."
Foxy falls over all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Just falls
Yeah.
over because she's chasing sticks and doing what she shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Makes
And
me
so,
happy.
yeah, and some of our dogs take it with ease and just roll with it, and other dogs not so much. So,
I think the other thing to pay attention to on walks that I've noticed, and I think you said when I was muted before that, dogs are so stoic. It By the time they show us that they're hurting, they've been really hurting for a while.
yeah.
And so with Foxy, I've learned to kind of try to read those signals ahead of time. Things like she will start panting on a walk before she gets to the point of just laying down and quitting.
Mm.
And that panting is kind of my signal that she's had enough, that it's time to turn around and go back.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
seeing those early precursors can help you to help them
yeah.
to, you know, stop. Yeah.
Yeah. And to be unattached to your walks with them, because every day is different. Every day is different.
Right.
And so just know that your walk with your senior dog, it may be short, it may be long, you know,
Right.
it'll be great.
Right.
Whatever it is, it'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm a big fan of that with all dogs of all ages, just saying, "Hey, this is for your dog, man. This is your dog's TV, their emails, their social media. This is their
Everything.
thing. Yeah, let them have it." But yeah,
Yeah.
especially for our senior dogs, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ed will still
Yeah.
put the
I've been,
brakes on
yeah.
when we get anywhere near the house. He's like, "No, I'm not done yet."
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. Foxy just today, she loves sticks. And so we were on a little walk and she saw a stick and she went bounding, a quote unquote, um, jumped on the stick, fell over, couldn't get up, still had the stick, finally got up, brought me the stick, wanted me to throw it. It's just like, okay,
Mhm.
whatever she wants, that's what we do.
Oh, funny. That's adorable.
I know, it was adorable and heartbreaking at the same time.
Right. At least she was like, whatever, and bounced right up.
She totally is what she could care less if she falls
Yeah.
over.
Is there anything that you have found with Foxy that she'd never done before that she's now doing that's she's finding joy in?
Oh, interesting. Gosh, that's a great question. I don't know if she's finding joy in it, but I sure am. She's just clingier, and not clingier, but she's closer to me and more. Foxy is not a cuddle dog. She never has been. She's too always moving for that, and
Mhm.
too busy for that. But now she has more time for me in that way. And I love it. And when we're driving together, she insists on being next to me now, and she often will be like kissing me while I'm driving, and those are things she never did before, and that I love, and she seems to feel happy about them. So is there does she have new hobbies? You know, no, same hobbies. I'm just more likely to let them kind of play out, like barking at the dogs next door. I let her do it now. I don't. I don't try to stop it because she enjoys it so much.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's great.
Yeah.
I feel like for Ed, he started to enjoy toys a little bit more, but like differently. So like he's never been like a pick it up and throw it around kind of guy. But and I don't know if part of him starting to now do this where he grabs things and he just goes like that. I don't know if it's a part of maybe all of the skills he has gotten as being my dog and me training him to do weird things, like teaching him the free shaped retrieve. I chose him because I was like, he's going to be the slowest. So I chose him to do that. But now, and then I use hand targeting, and I've taught him to like close gates and all of that sort of thing. So he now uses it when he wants my attention, he gets bored, comes close to dinner time. He will walk around the living room and just start booping everything, and then he'll look at me like, what? He knocks over fans, and then he looks at me like, did that get your attention? So I don't know. So I don't know if it's part of him getting older or just using all of his skills in the toolbox to try and get things, but I find it pretty adorable.
Yeah, that is adorable. Foxy definitely does that. When she wants me to stop working, she will grab a toy and start throwing it around, and she knows it'll break my concentration.
Right, right.
Jan, that's so cute.
Yeah. Oh, here, and it sounds like Jan says that her Rex is more affectionate too, and he's always He's always been super independent, but now seems to be loving being close. Just checking in with you. And aw, yeah, getting a little bit more snuggly.
So, Jeannie is a island girl. She lives on one of the islands here in the San Juan Islands. She lives on a different island. Yeah.
Gotcha. And speaking of islands, it's part of why Suzanne is having a hard time with her internet. It's never perfect. It's island life.
Sometimes it's perfect, but it certainly doesn't seem to be today.
Yeah, it's given us a struggle.
It's given me a struggle today. I really apologize to everyone for the crackly thing.
Yeah, I'll just keep going up and down with your volume. It'll work. So are there other resources that you have found that have been helpful beyond Eileen's book?
I watched a snippet of a video that was a presentation with Lori Stevens and Kathy Stadeo, The Gift of the Gray Muzzle. I have not watched the entire thing. It's quite a lot of videos, and it's quite spendy, but I've watched a couple of snippets out of that, and that's something that I would love to know more about, is what we can be doing in terms of massage and motion, range of motion for our dogs. So those have kind of sent me towards wanting to learn a little bit more about that. What else have I? No, not really. There's another book called Good Old Dog by Dr. Nicholas Dodman. He's a veterinary behaviorist at Tufts University. And that's a little more medical and a little more, what's what I'm looking for, clinical, I guess, but it's also still a great read, and it's very symptom specific, which is helpful, I think.
Yeah, I did find that there was a link. NPR had done an interview with him on his book. So I did find a link to that was really helpful, and he did get into those little different bits. That was great. Yeah. I also
to be in a community of hundreds of trainers where a lot of our colleagues and friends have had and lost old dogs, and so like someone like Beth Sottens, who we got to see her go through it with Nathan. There was I took in a lot of that, as she went through it, and so it's just, I think, really great for us to be talking about it and helping each other through, because it's not easy. And I know for me, I don't know about you, but for me, like, I have these moments where I'm already grieving the loss of my dog because I've lost parts of her already.
Yeah. And I feel like that's an important part for us to even just start, I don't know, thinking about or talking about with people, because I know that's the hardest part, is when we do having to make the decision to say good, when it's time for them. And my own, I'm just gonna mute you here for a second. My mother is, for a long time, she worked as an emergency nurse, and then she went and worked with hospice care. So recently, and if you're watching, I hope you're okay with me sharing this, but recently she had realized that it was time for her to say goodbye to her dog Molly. And even though she was used to, saying goodbye to people and death, when it came to her own dog, she was at a loss and not knowing what to do. And so she reached out to me and she said she felt embarrassed. And I was like, you shouldn't feel embarrassed. It's hard. It's a hard thing to go through. And Molly was her first dog that she had had for so long and then said goodbye to. So people don't realize the relationships that you develop with your dogs, and people feel embarrassed about caring so deeply and so much when they lose them, and they shouldn't. But I know that sometimes we do feel embarrassed and we don't want to talk about it and tell people why we're sad or why we need a couple days off. But I think we should just make it so that it's more acceptable and that it's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
Yeah. So Jeannie says, Jeannie said that Lori also has a webinar through Fenzi, which is very affordable.
Oh, okay.
We'll check that out. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Yeah. So I think we're going to end a little bit early just because we can't get that sound right. I'm bummed by it.
Why don't you just keep going and I'll go out? I am so horrified and sorry. And this is such a dear to my heart topic that I hope that we can do it again. And I will, I'll just buy the internet company or something.
Well, you can comment in the, as I'm continue talking, you could be commenting in the Facebook section there to, to help out. Yeah.
You should take me out and, yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming. That was great.
Thank you. Okay. So, as tech goes, sometimes that happens. And unfortunately, living where she does, it's super hard to predict when the internet is going to be stable and not. So we're going to continue on. Oh, hi, Mom. You are watching. Yeah. So we're going to continue on because there's a couple other resources that I do want to give folks. As I was just talking about how, it can be tough trying to decide when it is time for our old dogs. And sometimes they just tell you, we magically are able to figure it out. And other times we're not. And we need to have an outside perspective. And sometimes we don't have a person to come to. That's, it's not everybody has somebody else that has dogs or who has said goodbye to dogs recently and understand that feeling. So a couple of the resources that I found that I thought were really great were one from the Ohio State University, their veterinary medical center. They have a really stellar whole page here called Honoring the Bond Program. And it has a whole lot of resources here about knowing when, helping you to assess the quality of life of your dog. It talks about euthanasia to help people because I feel like that's, I feel like euthanasia is such a mystery to people. I don't know where I want to put this. But I feel like it is such a dark, like, ooh, I don't know what's going to happen sort of thing. So this talks you through and explains the euthanasia process and what your dog is going to experience and what you can expect. Because I feel personally in my heart that if you can be there with your dog to say goodbye, you should be. You help them through that experience. And more, there are options for at-home euthanasia, which I'm a huge fan of because I feel like one of the last things from what I've noticed, at least with my own dogs, to go seems to be scent. And I don't know if it's because that's one of their most powerful tools or not, or it's just been my personal experience. But the veterinary clinic has so many smells in there of other animals, of cleaning products and things like that, that if you can and you have the ability, I would love for people to be able to have at-home euthanasia where their dogs are comfortable and they're surrounded by loved ones. And for me, with my own dog, Mary Lou, she had for a very long time some fear issues with unfamiliar people. We worked through it. I called her my reformed stranger danger dog. But I'll tell you, it really did, her past really did affect my decisions on how I was going to help her out through things. So we knew that there was an issue going on with her back rear end. We knew that it had to do with probably a pinched nerve or a tumor that was going on back there. But we weighed the pros and cons for our own dog's quality of life. If we were to take her into the vet clinic, this is what they are going to find. And these are going to be our treatment options. Is that going to be stressful for her or not? For Mary Lou, heck yeah. It did not, the possible benefits of gaining a month or two more with our dog did not outweigh that she would be stressed out going to the veterinary clinic that many times. So we were just able to keep an eye on her and know when that this was going to be a necessity for her quality of life, and had the ability to have somebody come to our home and meet a very peaceful event. So, and she's not the first dog that I've had to say goodbye to in my home. So it is, it's something that I would much rather do for my dogs. So do check out that Ohio State University Veterinary Medical Center. There is a lot of really great things there. Lap of Love is another really great resource that has, it's like a network of veterinarians that do at-home euthanasia, and they have really nice resources on there too that explain the whole process. So that is a great area to check out. Even if it is a long time away, I think just being aware of the resources that you have around you and the services that are around you helps so that when the situation arises, that you're not, grieving your dog already and panicking and trying to find out what to do and then ending up having to say, go to the veterinary emergency services. And so I'm a planner. I'm kind of just that way. So I just like having those resources at my fingertips. So I've got them all in a file so I can help other people for when that comes along. Trying to think of some other ones. TheGrayMuzzle.org. They have a lot of really great resources for dogs as they're aging and things that you can do to help keep them enjoying their lives. So like a lot of the things that Suzanne was talking about and that I was talking about that we've done for our dogs as we've noticed this changes in their preferences for surfaces to mobility. That was a big one for Ed and for Mary Lou, finding the things that they really enjoy and just giving them more of it. I am careful though with how much I feed Ed, because I don't want him getting overweight, because that if he got overweight, then that's going to make it more difficult for him with his arthritis. So being very attentive to that and finding different things. He loves to train. As soon as he sees my tripod come out and I throw my phone up on there, he's starts to whine and drool a little bit. So that is something that he really enjoys. So we do lots of that. Is there any questions that anybody has about their senior dog or more resources out there? Is there anything that we didn't cover today that you're curious about for your senior? I'll leave it open a little bit here. And what I'm going to do too is I'm going to ask Victoria if she will either later this evening or tomorrow put up a slide from our Dog as a Second Language so you can see what our dog's vision is when it's good. And then imagine what it's like as they're getting older and they're starting to get a little film on their eyes and it's a little harder for them to see, you're going to be a little bit shocked, I promise. Our dogs are amazing at how they navigate their world with the way that they see. Probably about like if I took off my glasses and closed my right eye, because I'm legally blind in my left eye, so I can't see much. Okay, well, I don't see any questions coming in. Thank you for sharing that lap of love. I really like that one. Okay, well, we appreciate everybody for joining us and for everybody who joined in and shared some of their senior mobility issues and things like that, and changes that you've noticed from sound sensitivity to getting up the stairs. It really helps to have that out there so that other people know that that other people are experiencing it too, and that there's still plenty of things that we can do with our seniors to help them and enjoy life. And part of that is making sure that we're noticing those changes and adapting for them. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. And for anybody watching in the recording, if you have any questions, do feel free to pop them in the comments. We do keep an eye on that. And we also share this on YouTube. So if you have any friends or family that have senior dogs and they're not on Facebook, you got that resource to share with them as well. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining, and we will see you next Monday where, boom, I'm announcing a new series that I'm doing about rescuing and sheltering, and how rescuing is just the first step. We're going to be talking about the importance of using rewards-based training in shelters and with our rescues. So we're going to have a lineup of guests, and we're going to start out with me just talking about why I'm talking about this topic and my personal experiences working at the shelter and with rescues as a trainer and behavior consultant. So I'm really excited about this, and I hope that you guys are too, and that you're eager to join me. So I will see you next Monday for the kickoff for the new series. All right, thank you again, and everybody, please have a good night.